Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Feldy Farmer Yip's map for Farming Simulator 11. Well, we have finished forage harvesting all of our red clover. The fields are already regrowing. I can't quite dip down to that level, but they are regrowing. So I have just a little bit left here. We've refueled just a little bit inside here, rather. And you know, I've looked inside the diagnostic information here for our feed mills. There we go. I could put some here. There'll be some barley, but we've already proven in a recent episode we're not making a huge amount of money with the cattle. So I don't know, and I'll show a little bit more information on that in just a moment. I could put it over here in pig feed, but my problem here is no matter how much I put in here, I don't have enough to process any more feed because I don't have sugar beet. So, and nor is there any more to harvest. I didn't plant any, so putting it here would mean just a delay. We wouldn't get anything for it. So I think what I'm gonna do, oops, I just got out of there, is put it all up here with the sheep. Let me see if we can check how our sheepies are doing. Oops, oh, and there I just blew by it. Sheep trough. Yeah, no, actually it's still working. It is still working, so we'll just put it here and it'll convert to wool and happen soon. Actually, kind of as we showed recently, we get a very good rate of return on our wool. Actually, speaking of wool, how much do I have? Let's see. It's water, fertilizer, wool, fleece, 20,000. So I think I could haul 15,000 of it. And what is it at? I'm trying to remember how much the little thing holds. Is it 2,500 a piece? Yeah, so I could have several loads hauling the fleece to market and still, yeah, make some more money. Get out of this 10,000 hole. I'm going to take this back down, return it to where it was, and basically park it. Don't know that we have anything to forage harvest here in the near future. We have tons of barley calling our name, barley, 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 which in turn is going to be tons of baling that we need to do. So I don't think we'll need this for a little while. We'll let our red clover regrow. At least the red clover that we have kind of over in this area. Let me see, where did I typically, I think I parked this, yeah, I think I kind of just backed it over into here one other time. So, let me stick it, I'll just kind of back it in right in here. We'll pause that for a moment. I wanted to revisit this spreadsheet that I'd worked on, you know, where I talked about the costs of, or the opportunity costs rather, of growing or producing fleece, hogs, cattle, or eggs. And as we learned, there was a fair amount of profit in doing fleece. You know, the ratio here is just much higher. If we were to grow feedstuff for bales and some of these other crops just to be sold, we would only make 174 versus 1,600 of converting it to fleece, and so forth and so on. Well, I did a little bit more work in here, and I added in all the other information I could find about the stations. You know, certain stations, they have a multiplier in it when you sell, so I updated everything in here. And as it turns out, for cattle production in particular, it is right on the edge. It's going to be a little more profitable turning it into cattle, but if you just grow the basic commodities themselves and sell them outright, you are making about as much as you would make in converting them to cattle. With hogs, it's a little bit different. You are going to make significantly more, it's appreciably more by converting it into hogs. But one of the updates that I put on here, if you recall from before, I had a big 0 here because there's no place to sell sugar beets. So what I did is, and really, if we're talking opportunity cost, we wouldn't necessarily stick with any of these examples, just with the literal commodities to make a particular unit of production. The sky would be the limit in terms of opportunity cost. So I just add here, just for simplicity, one root crop exchange for another in the same area that it would take to make 2,000 liters of sugar beet. What if we planted potatoes and sold them instead? Well, so what it does, previously the gap was quite a bit larger, but if you put in potatoes rather than sugar beets, kind of as the opportunity cost, it really narrows the gap between, running hogs versus, just selling the commodities. But this is a game of definitions. How you define the value of a particular commodity is everything. So if we scrapped all of this and only planted potatoes, we might be bored off of a rocker, but we would make way more than everything here. Except the fleece probably would still be a pretty good deal. I didn't try to convert that out of here. You probably would still make more fleece, but I know if you changed all the acreage here and turned it into potatoes instead of the feed stuff, instead of the corn, canola, and so forth, you probably would beat hogs. You would beat cattle, and for sure would beat eggs. Only fleece would probably survive. So I don't know how much any of you look into economics, when it comes to farming sim, but sometimes we all like to know, well, what's the most profitable thing to grow? And this is an old version of the game. I know in the new ones, they've added a lot more bells and whistles, a lot more variability in the market. Whereas in the older versions of the game, the markets would fluctuate, as we hop back in game here. Oops, I think I just went past it. In here, the green means the price is rising, and the red means it's falling, and it's going to, kind of go around some average prices, which are defined. And it won't get too far out, but it can change the whole analysis, that we just looked at. But so now, we took it up to the sheep, so we're kind of done with all that for a while. Our field is regrowing, our fields rather, and 2 of them we took out, so we won't have as much material to draw from. Yeah, see here, if we get out here and go down and ground the level. Yeah, there you can see, won't let me kneel? No, won't let me kneel. You can see the new plants kind of coming in. It is a perennial type plant. It regrows after being cut. That is a red clover. So it's only a matter of time, and we'll be cutting it once again. But whether we do that at this harvest season or not, I don't know. We'll just have to see. This here, we may leave it here for the moment. It's mainly for fuel. We got the tank hanging at the side there. We do have some baling to do. I need to come in through here and start kicking out bales. Off cam, I took the liberty of baling some of the excess grass that was also cut kind of up around the red clover fields over here. We have ourselves a boatload of barley to get through. And a good lot of the barley we're going to want to take in. Let me see if I can find a cattle trough, pig trough, cattle feed mill. We're going to need at least 186,000 of barley. liters of barley to put in here. So I don't know how long it's going to take to harvest to get all that, but we'll see. We got baling to do, so let me go over to the combine. We already are part way full. We're starting a new day here, so let me see if I can try to straighten him out just a fuzz. Always want to try to get as straight as I can. Or right on 90, rather. No. I always forget. Oh, you know, it just done. It used to remember. I have a mod in here that is set up to remember the direction that you last hired. And I'm pretty sure I didn't hire it to go at the 180. It was 90. But anyways, I gotta get rid of it. So I'll just hold the 9 key down for a little bit. It should start off straight here. Yep, it does. It's moving right along at 8 miles an hour. Alright, so that should be pretty straight. And hopefully we'll turn around kind of at the end down there. It's a little bumpy here as it goes through the air. Now I lost my place. Get back over to cattle feed mill. Now, we need 186,000 liters, but as soon as we have 186,000, we're going to drop it like a hot potato because we have no more feeds to unless maybe, you know, by the time we get done, it'll have regrown. I suppose, you know, we could bring some more in then, but we'll see. All I know is it's going to take a fair bit of time to reach the allotted number of liters. So he's going to be filling here shortly. So let me get our tractor trailer unit down here so it's ready to go. We have some bales over here on the right that are going to need to be picked up. I'm always disappointed by how few bales are produced through grass. Oh, and speaking of the bales, some of those, including on the straw here, we're going to need as bedding for our cattle. So I think we will use as many as we can. Because if let me make sure I stay out of his way. I'll park over here in the hedge. Oops. Let me see here. I look at... Oh, maybe he's already done. Hi, George. He filled up right at the end of the way. How about that? Anyway, I was looking through the sheep. Let me see here. Cattle trough. Okay, we need bedding. You need as much bedding as you do cattle feed. And in some ways, boy, doesn't that seem pretty high that you would need as much bale content as you do food. You know, and we've already got a fair bit of water in there, but we need to take the cattle feed over there. And in some ways, you know, with all the harvesting we've been doing, as everybody knows, I've been creating feed, we've already hauled water, and pretty soon we'll have bales that I need to take over to turn into bedding. Then we'll haul the bedding over there. Not sure how the bedding is hauled. Maybe it's just in a trailer. So, yeah, there's plenty to do here. And I reiterate again, this is a multiplayer map. Now, this here, we've been hauling over to the cattle feed mixer and hog food mixer, but I need to also haul over to, probably can't show it on the map, I need to haul over to start creating some other things too, but I have so many things going on at the moment. I think what I'm going to do is just go bale, maybe, but I do need to haul some biofuel. We have, let me see, how much do we have? Biofuel, 45,000 liters. So we have a fair amount to haul, but yeah, just kind of want to wait and see to make sure I have sufficient for what I need to do. Actually, dump all of this. All right, started over there. Do we have a spare tractor? Here we go. Let's knock down a few bales. Get that going. I thought I lowered it. Did I? Oh yeah, it lowered. All right. There's something satisfying of making a bunch of bales, and just gotta make sure I can follow all of these crooked windrows in here. Yeah, this is the downside kind of using that autopilot mod on the combines is it kind of doesn't really make a very straight windrow. And sometimes I think I've noticed over time it makes it crookeder and crookeder, and you wonder, how did it get here? Which is kind of why I, with the combine over there right now, I'm choosing to have it go in regular hire mode versus round and round. Well, that's convenient. I can sneak down here. Got this little gap in the fields. Sorry, hopefully nobody's getting vertigo from my haphazard keyboard steering. There we go. First round is always the toughest. Oh my, there's quite a bump right in here. Oh, yeah, ka-thunk right there. You would never go through it in real life quite like this, but oh well. Thankful Farmer Yip didn't put any collisions in the hedges. Maybe he should have. Just to remind people that you would never drive through it in real life like that. I notice also some logs over there. I don't know what I'm thinking and just constantly trying to add things to all of this. But I want to make sure my hired guy is still moving over there. But at some point, I'm hoping to do a little bit of timber work. And the trouble is, in order to do it, I still need to do a fair bit of modding, and just haven't taken the time to do that. Namely, to create I kind of stuttered a little bit. Namely, to create, let me just make sure I don't have anything. Okay. Alright, my log is okay. Mainly to have a place to sell the logs and take them to market. And previously, I know, basically the means that I'm going to use of doing that is to sell them through a bale trigger or a bale destroyer trigger, the same one that we use where we sell bales. But I want to put it in kind of in a different area. Maybe a barge I've talked about, or create another island that has a lumber mill on it. And we'll see what we can come up with. I got my map up here, like I say, so I can kind of keep an eye on... I don't know why I turned that way. Maybe I wanted to give the tractor and baler a good scratching here in the hedge. Actually, when you get down and you look at this hedge, this wouldn't be any picnic just messing around in. It might even have thorns. So as cool as that autopilot mod is, it is so helpful to have straight windrows when you're trying to do the baling like I'm doing here. And this in here is just crooked. I'm sorry it's crooked. But it does help that I cheated just a fuzz and widen the intake on this baler, so that it pulls just a little outside the visible working area. earlier today, I recorded a couple episodes in Farm Sim 15 for another series I have over there. And it's just interesting to see the differences in all these versions of Farm Sim. And now, you know, we've heard Giants are coming out with a new one, and I don't know, I'll probably get it. You know, so far I've gotten every version that they've had, most of the DLCs. I can't help it. Although I can't say that I've done all that much with Farm Sim 22. You know, it's almost like after Farm Sim 17. And I don't know what it was. I think when I figured out, you know, that the modding for Farm Sim 19, that there was just so many changes, and I threw my hands up. That's kind of when I stuck by some of these older versions. And you know, I don't care. I mean, to me, it's when I play Farming Sim, it's all about the map and the environment that you're in, and whether it feels like home or a place where you can sink a bunch of time and not get bored. You know, is my combine moving over there? Oh, I see. You know, I think that is a difference than it is on higher mode. Of course, it's been sitting there this whole time. Okay, I need to go... Where's my other... I think it's over here. On autopilot, I think the higher dot thing would go off, so that's how I could tell kind of when it was finished. I'm going to have to watch this a little bit closer so that I know when it's time to come empty it. But after Farm Sim 17, you know, I never did get that much into 19. I did some. I got one little series on 19. I've spent a significant amount of time on it. But there's, and I know I've talked about this previously, there was just a whole lot of problems that I had with 19. You know, and I think, you know, there were so many changes that the Giants put into the game, intended as enhancements, and maybe it was just the necessary first go at it, you know, where it was just the first time they tried, but it wasn't quite as good. I think 22 is much improved. All right, are we filling in our mixer? There we go. We are working. All right. So I don't know, some people, you know, I know I've mentioned this before, I belong to a Discord group where they kind of celebrate the older versions of Farming Sim, particularly Farm Sim 08 and 09. They have a lot of stuff on there for Farm Sim 11 and 13 and 15, but I tell you, it's getting harder to find the mods, you know, that made these old versions work. Not many sites are active anymore, and so there's quite a preservation effort there. But you do wonder how many iterations of this game, you know, do the Giants intend on doing? Maybe as long as there are suckers, I mean customers, like us out here to buy them, maybe they'll just keep on doing what they're doing. I mean, why not? But you do also wonder at the same time, where is a game like this headed? You know, I really enjoy this environment. This is something I would have loved to have way back, you know, when I was a kid. You know, this top down. I mean, I know I've talked maybe in other series or episodes or whatever about you know, to get my farming fix when I was a kid, playing this board game called the farming game and playing it for hours and hours and hours. And it was just a simple board game, you know, where you rolled dice, and it was the roll of the dice, you know, that dictated your fortunes. It dictated how big your crop was, or how big, you know, how much the money that you made. We didn't have anything like this. And so to have something where you can drive little tractors and what have you, and have a place to dream and see this is really neat. But like I say, I do wonder, where's it all headed? I know some guys, you know, they will play almost entirely, you know, in cab, you know, for the most immersive experience. I'm not doing that. This thing stutters just horribly. Plus, I would rather see the scenery of the surrounding area, because I like the map so much, versus being in cab. But each to their own. But I know there are guys out there that they set up these very elaborate setups to play the game, where very immersive. You know, they'll set up several computer monitors, and I don't know how they do it, but to kind of surround themselves as if they're sitting in a tractor cab. And I don't know what they do when they need to go out of cab, you know, for those instances. I don't know that I could get into it that way, but you know, technology is changing on a lot of those things, and including in you know, if you go see a movie or whatever, you know, they've had I think 3D type glasses you can wear in there. That's been around for ages, but you know, now, I mean, I've heard the technologies there, you can have a virtual experience, so that when you sit down in a movie theater, you know, if the bad guy is shooting a gun, you are potentially in the line of fire. You know, it just adds to the immersion when you can, when they film it in such a way that you're in the middle of it, you know, and you can see before you, behind you, and above and below. Just all those kinds of things. And there's even other creative things they can do in theaters. And, well, frankly, this is old technology. You know, where I've been in one of those before, where they will, you know, if it's raining, they'll spit a little water on you from the ceiling just to add that extra little immersion factor. So they do all these things. And then you have a game like this, and again, I ask myself, you know, where's it going? You know, right now it looks like this every single time. You know, it looks like we gotta go empty a combine again. Every single iteration of the game, it's more of the same, but generally better and better graphics. Maybe a few more options. You know, they add other things that you can do, you know, and we all know that from the past. You know, they brought in forestry in Farm Sim 15. They brought in the concept of a BGA in Farm Sim 11, I believe. That was one of the DLCs. So there's something new, you know, that gets brought in or whatever each iteration of the game. And I know some people have been clamoring for ages to have, what do they call it, deformable soil. You know, you get some ag simulators out there, it looks like you are really plowing the dirt, you know, in there, versus Farm Sim, which has the flat appearance. It's pretty hard, you know, because anybody that has studied some of this, modding perspective or whatever, you look down at the map surface, it is totally flat. And any ripples or deviations in the surfacing you see is purely smoke and mirrors done with creative texturing. Texture meaning the picture files that are used, to represent a plowed surface or planted surface or whatever. So, but apparently there are means of creating something even more sophisticated to where the ground would look plowed or whatever, even more so than it does now. I don't know. Personally, I don't know that I care about all that. But it's just one of those things. People have been asking for it, and you wonder if at some point the Giants will give it to them or try to incorporate that. Maybe they've tried. It's just each feature that you add that looks nicer, there's a bell, better, whatever. It comes at a cost, of resources, and I know computer technology keeps improving, getting better and better, but you wonder if at a point it's not gonna be able to do it, at least on the standard home computer. But I wonder too someday if we'll play this game wearing glasses, virtual reality, and maybe even it would still have a top-down view, but if I was wearing glasses and turning my head here and there, I could see everything, and I wouldn't be limited to just, the frame of what I see on the screen right now. So, I don't know. I'll be curious to see where things go. I mean, shoot, for all I know, maybe one day they'll make something where you have a device and you have to milk the cow yourself. I don't know. Anything is possible, I suppose, in a game like this. And we are baling. Missing little bits here and there because we're trying to follow this pesky autopilot combine that came through here earlier. So I'm going to keep after this. We have a bunch of harvesting to do, so I may do a share of this off cam. We'll see. We will see. But for now, thank you so much for coming along to spend a little time here and listen to me rattle on about this, that, and the other. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.